Today, Trump hints at security guarantees for Ukraine, with Putin and Zelensky talks next, maybe. Hamas accepts a proposed ceasefire deal. Most Americans are worried about the role artificial intelligence could play in society. And the must-have Labubu doll helps profits soar at Pop Mart. It's Tuesday, August 19th. This is Reuters World News, bringing you everything you need to know from the front lines in 10 minutes, 7 days a week. I'm Kim Vanel in Wanganui, New Zealand. A key meeting for Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky.
Thank you very much. It's an honor to have the President of Ukraine with us.
Perhaps his most important meeting since Russia's full-scale invasion.
And I think progress is being made, very substantial progress in many ways.
The stakes are high, and next is a meeting with President Vladimir Putin, if Zelensky gets his wish. Talks in Washington appearing more successful than their clash 6 months ago, with Donald Trump promising security guarantees in any future peace deal with Russia. Asked explicitly whether those guarantees could include US troops in Ukraine, Trump did not rule it out. Instead, he teased an announcement as soon as Monday on the topic. With European leaders by Zelensky's side, there was a more upbeat feel, but a peace deal still appears some way off. Andrea Shalal is our White House reporter.
So there's tons of questions unanswered. One is, what does it mean to offer security guarantees to Ukraine when you at the same time exclude the possibility of Ukraine ever joining NATO? So, there's a lot of questions about what that means. I spoke to a senior administration official today who told me that President Trump would never agree to have U.S. troops on the ground. The other question is, what happens to the land that the Ukrainians have lost to the Russians? And President Zelensky today told journalists after the meeting was over that the territorial issue would be something that he would discuss with Putin in a bilateral meeting. The other question is, where is this bilateral going to take place? There are legitimate security concerns for Zelensky in meeting with Putin, knowing that the Russian government has been accused of poisoning its adversaries in the past.
A lot of the summit seemed dedicated to showing respect to President Trump after Zelensky's disastrous last Oval Office visit. Then Trump slammed him for wearing a military-style green sweater. This time, Zelensky wore a black shirt and blazer. And while Trump didn't mention their past meeting, he did comment on the new look when prompted by a reporter.
You look fabulous in that suit.
I said the same thing.
Yeah, you look good.
I said the same thing.
Yeah.
Andrea says Zelensky and the Europeans knew how to approach Trump this time around.
Zelensky definitely learned his lessons. He said thank you, I think 8 times in the beginning remarks that we saw publicly before when he met with Trump. But there were definitely differences. The president had come out and said, ceasefire is not the answer. We have to move to a peace agreement. And German Chancellor Merz was very strong in his remarks in saying that a ceasefire was the way to go. So it was superficially quite cordial. But I think that there are still, grave underlying differences, and we'll see how that gets worked out in the next 2 weeks.
Hamas is agreeing to a 60-day ceasefire proposal to pause the war in Gaza, according to an Egyptian source. They say the proposal includes the return of half the hostages held in the enclave and Israel's release of some Palestinian prisoners. It also outlines a framework for a full deal to end the nearly 2-year-old conflict. There's been no response from Israel so far.
I'm sure I'll fall asleep eventually, whether that's in my chair or on the floor.
Texas State Representative Nicole Collier prepares to spend the night in the House chamber. That's after the Republican Speaker of the House said Democrats who'd left the state as part of a redistricting battle would only be allowed to leave if they go in the custody of police escorts. Democratic lawmakers returned on Monday after fleeing the state to block voting on new congressional maps that they say benefit Republicans. Air Canada and the union representing 10,000 striking flight attendants have begun talks for the first time since they walked off the job on Saturday. The union is refusing a federal order to return to work, creating a three-way standoff between the airline, workers, and the government. European equity futures are ticking up in the wake of the Ukraine summit in Washington, with traders evaluating the diplomatic signals toward ending hostilities. Oil prices slipped in early Asian trade, with the market contemplating a possible end to sanctions on Russian crude. The dollar, meanwhile, is holding on to its gains as traders wait for policy hints from the Federal Reserve's Jackson Hole Symposium, where Chair Jerome Powell is expected to outline the economic outlook. A majority of Americans are worried about the role artificial intelligence could play in society. That's according to a new Reuters Ipsos poll. Here's our data and politics reporter, Jason Lang in DC.
AI is driving a lot of worries in the U.S. generally about the prospect that a lot of people could lose their jobs and become permanently unemployed because of AI. But 2/3 of people said they think that. Now, to be sure, there really aren't any signs of this happening just yet. A lot of people are worried about the prospect that this could cause political chaos. About 2/3 of people said that they had that concern. And I think what's on a lot of people's minds is the uncanny ability of this AI technology to create things that look real that aren't. It was pretty clear that people are leery of the government using AI in military applications. About half of people said that the government shouldn't use AI to determine the target of a military strike. And about a quarter said that, that's okay. The rest of the folks said that they didn't know. This is still very new technology, and a lot of people are getting their heads around it.
Allahu Akbar.
Mourners gather for a funeral in Pakistan's northwestern Buna district after devastating flash floods killed more than 300 people. The floods, caused by heavy rains, swept through villages, levelling homes. And finally, you've more than likely seen kids, celebrities, even David Beckham rocking the weird little charm that's Labubu, the ugly, cute art toy that's everywhere. Now, Pop Mart, the company behind the viral Labubu doll, is reporting record profits. Casey Hall is in Shanghai.
So Pop Mart is an art toy company that came out of Beijing. It's been around for a long time. What they're really known for is selling blind boxes. So when people buy a toy from Pop Mart, don't actually know what you're getting. You know what kind of character you're getting, but which kind of iteration of that character within a series, you don't know. I think part of the success has been in the blind box model. It's almost like gambling. Labubu has obviously been wildly successful, but Pop Mart also has a number of other IPs or intellectual properties that they've incubated, and some of those are also becoming really popular. There is Crybaby, Twinkle Twinkle. I mean, these are the kind of things we're looking at that could be the next big thing in art toys.
And for today's recommended read, which is also a watch, the 113-year-old Swedish church jacked up from its foundations and sent on a 2-day relocation road trip. It's to try and save it from the impact of mining. There's a link in the pod description for where you can read more and see the video of its first moves. For more on any of the stories from today, check out Reuters.com or the Reuters app. Don't forget to follow us on your favourite podcast player. And if you're listening on a smart speaker, Just ask for the latest news from Reuters 7 days a week. We'll be back tomorrow with our daily headline show.